If you want to know why two incomes don't feel like more money, stay with me, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's a regular weekday morning. Nothing dramatic, no crisis. Just life moving too fast. You're half awake in the kitchen. A kid can't find shoes. Someone remembers a school thing at the last second. Your phone buzzes with a reminder you never saw you set. You sip coffee and it barely registers because your head is already doing the numbers. That tight feeling in your chest, the one that says, if one extra bill lands this week, we're going to feel it. My name is Steve. If this sounds like you, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone. You and your partner both work. 2 paychecks, 2 calendars, 2 commutes or 2 laptops or 2 sets of I'll be home after this call, and still the month feels tight. Rent or the mortgage takes its cut first. Childcare right after. Car payment, car insurance, gas, repairs you know are coming, health insurance, then the little charges, the subscription you forgot, the school fee, the parking ticket, the convenience fee that feels like an insult, and the thought shows up again. How are we working this hard and still living like one surprise could knock us sideways? That thought sits there because it's embarrassing. People hear your household income and assume everything's fine. You hear your household income and assume everything should be fine. Then real life proves otherwise. This is the two-income trap. The term hit the mainstream through Elizabeth Warren back when she was a Harvard bankruptcy professor. In 2004, she and her daughter, Amelia Warren Tyagi, wrote The Two-Income Trap. A second paycheck doesn't turn into a cushion. It gets assigned a job the minute it arrives. It pays for the life you built around having 2 incomes. Once that happens, both paychecks become non-negotiable. Let me describe a couple that looks familiar in 100 different ways. One earns about $70,000, the other about $55,000. Together, they're around $125,000. That's the kind of number people brag about on LinkedIn and whisper about at family dinners. They bought a house sized for 2 incomes. They drive 2 cars because schedules don't line up. They pay for childcare because nobody is home at 2:30 on a Wednesday. They try to cook at home. They try to be responsible. They aren't out shopping for luxury. They're paying for normal life. Then something ordinary happens. A company freezes bonuses. Hours get cut. A kid gets sick for a week and childcare falls apart. A parent needs help. Someone hits burnout and starts making mistakes at work. The paycheck shrinks for a month or 2 or longer. The bills keep showing up exactly the same. Mortgage, insurance, car payments, groceries, utilities. That's when the credit card starts carrying the weight. That's when you move money around like you're playing financial Tetris, trying to keep every line from going red. That's when you say, we'll catch up next month. Next month shows up with a tire, or a dentist bill, or a medical copay, or the water heater decides it's done. You end up reacting all the time. Patch, patch, patch. It's exhausting because it never feels finished. And here's the part that messes with your head. You're doing everything people told you to do. Work hard, get stable jobs, combine finances, buy a home, provide opportunities for your kids. So why does it feel like you're walking on glass? A lot of this comes down to how the whole system priced itself over time. 1970s, 1-income household, inflation adjusted. Income, $45,000. Housing, $9,000. 1 car and transport, $4,000. Healthcare and insurance, $2,000. Childcare, $0. Taxes, $9,000. Fixed costs, $24,000. Money left, $21,000. That leftover money was breathing room. 2020s, 2-income household. Husband earned $70,000. Wife, $55,000. Household income, $125,000. Housing in a good school area, $36,000. 2 cars and commuting, $14,000. Childcare up to $20,000. Healthcare and insurance, $9,000. Groceries and household food, $12,000. Taxes, federal, state, payroll, $30,000. Fixed costs, $121,000. Money left, $4,000. That's why dual-income households can feel fragile with good salaries. Sometimes the second income looks huge until you subtract what it takes to bring it home. Picture a second paycheck of $50,000 a year. Taxes take a chunk right away. Then the work costs, commute costs, gas, parking, wear on the car. If you have kids, childcare can swallow a shocking amount of that income. In some areas, it eats most of it. Then there's what I call exhaustion spending. Not because people are lazy, because people are tired. If both adults work full-time and you're juggling kids, commutes, and appointments, you don't always have the energy to do every efficient thing. Some nights you buy dinner. Some weekends you pay for delivery. Maybe you hire help once a month because the house feels chaotic and you can't get ahead. Those purchases are a response to time getting squeezed. So you run the numbers and the second paycheck doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like it gets chewed up by the cost of keeping two adults working. Zoom out again, because this isn't only a household problem. When more families have two incomes, more families qualify for bigger mortgages. They bid more for the same houses. Prices rise until the market finds the new limit. Then two incomes become normal for buying a decent home. School districts add another layer. Parents want good public schools. Those schools tend to sit in higher-priced neighborhoods. Families stretch to get in because it feels like you're buying your kid's future. So the bidding continues. The mortgage grows. The need for both incomes locks in. Banks don't help either. They look at your combined income and tell you what you qualify for. That number feels official, like permission. So you sign for the bigger mortgage, the bigger car loan, the higher monthly everything. Nobody at the closing table asks what happens if one person gets laid off or a baby arrives early, or if your partner's job becomes unbearable. The payment looks fine on paper. Real life is the part they don't underwrite. You do the math later at midnight, exhausted. It rarely shows up as one huge decision. It's a series of choices that all make sense in the moment. A slightly better neighborhood. A payment that feels manageable right now. A second car because it solves a daily headache. Daycare because you don't have a choice. Then years pass and neither of you can slow down, even briefly, without the whole structure shaking. That pressure doesn't stay in your spreadsheet. It bleeds into everything. Sleep, health, patience, the way you talk to each other at 10 p.m. when you're both fried. So what actually helps? Not guilt, not shaming yourself for being tired, not turning your life into a spreadsheet Olympics. What helps is changing the structure so one income could keep you standing if you had to. Not forever, not comfortably, but without a free fall. Stability often comes from needing less, not earning more. More income is great, but a lower monthly nut is what gives you resilience. Start with your number. Add up your fixed monthly costs. The bills that show up, no matter what. Housing, utilities, groceries, insurance, transportation, minimum debt payments. Childcare, at least the portion you'd still need during an emergency period. Now, compare that to one income after taxes. If one income can't cover the basics, you built a two-income structure. That's common. It also explains why every surprise feels dangerous. Next, go after the biggest pressure points first. For most families, it's housing, cars, and childcare. Housing is the main lever. It's also the hardest, which is why people avoid it. It means you make a plan. Maybe you stay put longer and stop chasing upgrades. Maybe you refinance when it genuinely helps. Maybe you move one neighborhood over when the math finally tells you the truth. Maybe you downsize for a few years and treat it as a strategy, not a defeat. Cars come next because payments stack fast. 2 payments plus insurance, plus maintenance, plus gas can eat income alive. If you can drop to 1 payment, you'll feel it immediately. If you can drive paid-off cars, the month becomes less sharp. Childcare is brutal. Nobody has a perfect answer. Still, there are levers. Stagger schedules. Negotiate remote days. Shift hours. Consider jobs with different benefits and flexibility even if the salary is lower, if the net result gives you more margin. This is also where couples need to talk honestly, because childcare decisions touch identity and pride. Keep the conversation focused on stability, not who is winning. Now, build a buffer, because emergencies are guaranteed. A buffer turns a bad week into an annoying week. Start small. A starter buffer, $1,000 to $2,000. Then a month of expenses. Then a few months. The buffer buys time. Time is what prevents panic decisions. Then give the extra income a job. Pick one priority, the one that creates the most stress. Credit cards. No emergency fund. A car payment. Whatever it is, focus until it changes. Spreading your effort across 10 tiny goals usually keeps you stuck in place. Here's another trick that feels simple but changes the way you plan. Stop building your life around your best month. Build it around your worst realistic month. The month where a kid gets sick, work gets messy, and an unexpected bill hits. If your finances survive that month without chaos, your structure is strong. If that month breaks you, you're stretched too thin. That's not a character flaw, it's information. If you want a practical task for this week, do this. Pull your last 60 days of bank statements. Circle the 3 categories that hit the hardest. Not the small stuff, the big stuff. Pick one lever you can pull in the next 90 days to lower a fixed cost. One change that lowers the monthly nut is worth more than a dozen motivational quotes. And I want you to hear this clearly. A lot of couples aren't bad with money. They're stuck in a world where the cost of stability climbed and the second income got absorbed. So they work harder, even more, and still feel squeezed. You're not imagining it. You're not weak for feeling it. The exit is stability. Lower fixed costs where you can. Build a buffer. Use extra income to buy back breathing room instead of buying more payments. If this sounded like your life, share it with someone who needs it. Couples carry this stress in silence, and it makes everything worse. If you want more videos like this, hit like, subscribe, and join Steve Invests. Remember this, change begins where there is consistent actions. I'll see you in the next one.